Hey YouTube. So this tractor, I got this tractor from a neighbor of mine. I'm putting the hood down. From a neighbor of mine. I done him a whole bunch of favors and stuff, so he gave me the tractor. And when he gave it to me, it had been sitting in his yard for years, and it wasn't able to really run or anything. So I brought it over here and I changed the oil on it and stuff. This is the model number, I guess. But anyway, I changed the oil and stuff on it and put a battery in it, cleaned up the gas a little bit, the gas container, and the tractor started up. And I was surprised, and it was running pretty good. And this is an old motor of some sort. You can see it's horizontal, and the piston's off to the one side there a little bit. But I was surprised at how well the tractor ran when I had it running. It wasn't smoking or anything like that. You know, and it just seemed like it was in pretty good shape. So I guess it was now I got it last summer, so I fixed it up, and then for the winter I used it a little bit to plow snow. I put that plow on the front with a lever that you can turn it side to side. And when I was running the tractor one day, it started to smoke like white out of it. Not black, but white. And wasn't sure what was going on. I knew there was no water in it anywhere. You know, there's no radiator in this thing. And I couldn't figure out what in the world was happening to it. So the one day I parked it and I filled up the gas container. Okay, so let me just look at this thing here once. I can't really read that. I can't see what the heck it says there. Anyway, I think it says full here. And probably, or no, that's an F. Okay, full. So that comes around here. So you can see it's like half full right now. So I'm sitting in the house one night thinking to myself, how can this tractor be half full of gas? There's no gas on the floor. I don't smell gas anywhere. And, you know, it was just not leaking any place. So I had changed the motor oil on it. I do that every year around the same time of the year. I change the oil in all the tractors and everything. That's what I was actually doing this week. But I had changed this oil sometime during the early spring, like not even spring, like January, February, somewhere in there I changed oil. And I noticed that the oil was kind of thin. I mean, really thin. So I just want to show it to you what it looks like. So anyway, I have the oil sitting out here in the truck. So I drained this oil this morning. I just want you to look at this. See that? I mean, since when can you dump metal and it doesn't have anything on it? Here, this is mainly gas in the crankcase. So I couldn't figure out how in the world is this gas getting into this crankcase. So the first thing I thought to myself was, okay, it's got a great big carburetor in it, and it's like an updraft carburetor. And I noticed that the carburetor had a float, so it's basically airtight, you know, as it goes up and goes into the manifold here. So anyway, I'll show you the carburetor. It's in this container here. I use this stuff to clean carburetor parts and different car parts. It works really good. So anyway, this is what the carburetor looks like. I have it soaking. And I thought, well, maybe somehow or another, maybe the needle valve was stuck in the open position and gas was just running in there somehow. But and on most of these type tractors, they don't usually have a fuel pump. A lot of times, especially these type of motors, the gas runs directly from the gas tank through a hose and into the side of the carburetor. Well, here, when I started looking at this thing, I saw this was on the top of the motor, and I thought, well, all this probably is just an in and an out going to the carburetor. It was just some kind of a connection for, you know, for the hoser, but it's not. It's a fuel pump. So I took that out, only to find out that the gas was running down and then along the rod and into the intake manifold, or into the crankcase. So it was literally filling the crankcase and getting rid of the oil. I mean, the oil was turning into nothing. So this morning I tried to start the tractor and I wasn't sure what was happening. But then when I checked the oil, I couldn't really see the oil level on the dipstick. And one of the reasons for that was because the oil was so thin that you couldn't see it, other than that it was wet, you know, like just wet. And it was wet probably up to here, you know, like an inch or so above where it says full. So then I smelled it and I realized that gas was leaking into the crankcase, but I didn't know how it was getting there. Like I said, at first I thought, well, it's going in the carburetor, going through the manifold and then into the cylinders, and it's going from there. But it wasn't that, because when I took the spark plug off, the spark plug is dry, but yet the gas was inside the crankcase. So I drained it out, and I just showed it to you what it looks like. But I thought it was the carburetor, and here it's this little fuel pump. This fuel pump literally goes inside there like a Chevy onto the camshaft, or a cam I suppose is in there, and it pumps up and down, and it pumps just enough, I suppose, to get gas in there. But like I say, the gas was leaking through the system here somehow. Now I haven't found a cut in this rubber, but that doesn't mean anything, because gas is very thin and it could go in between this and come out the bottom side. But what I did notice is that this was coated with gas. This was like, it was really gas running down there into the crankcase. So what I'm going to do, since this thing's made out of plastic and all, I'm going to attempt to get a new fuel pump. Now I don't know if I can or not. I hope I can. I'm not really sure what the motor size is or anything, because what I've got here is, you can see where it says model number is pretty much gone, except for a couple numbers. Specifications is gone. Serial number is okay, but the rest of it's not too good. So it's a Kohler motor, and I'm going to see if I can't fix this. When I had talked to a couple different guys about this, they had says to me that usually the piston rings are wore out when you're getting gas in there like that. But it's not coming in from the cylinders, it's coming in from, you know, it's into the crankcase, and it's coming from that fuel pump that I have right there. So that should fix this. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to order a fuel pump for this and see if that'll solve my problem. Because one of the things that I noticed, the first thing that started happening was the air filter last year, when it started to smoke like a white smoky thing, the filter here was so filled with oil. There was oil literally pumping out of the breather tube that's right here. Okay, the breather tube, you know, connected to the block. It was literally pumping into the carburetor. It was cycling gas right through the air cleaner and into the manifold, and then the tractor would flood itself out and shut off. But I couldn't tell what it was doing because I didn't have it apart. So today was the first day I had a chance to actually get it apart, and that's what's wrong with it. So I don't know how many people would have any of these. I'm not even sure what year this thing is. I don't think there's a date on here. I don't see a date anywhere on this thing. So I'm not sure of what year it is. It's like a hydrostatic drive, so I would imagine it's not too old. Maybe somewhere in the 60s, I suppose. I don't see any dates. I don't see a date on there unless that end one was a date. No, that's a serial number. Okay, so that's the model number there of the tractor. So I'm going to go on the internet and see if I can't find the fuel pump for this. But I was amazed at that. I mean, when you look at that gas, you know, the motor oil that came out of there, it's unbelievable. Usually motor oil you take out of the crankshaft is thick and gooey, you know, and this is literally clean. Apparently, when you mix gas with motor oil, and this is only a guess, it breaks it down really bad. It's still, I don't know if it's, it doesn't even feel like it's oily anymore. And I just put, I don't know what it took to fill that. I don't know if it was 2 quarts or what, but I had just put brand new motor oil in that thing, not more than a month ago, and I only ran it for maybe 2 hours and started to do the same thing. So I just parked it and figured I'd fix it later when it was warmer out. So anyway, I got to get rid of this stuff. This will probably burn, probably explode. Anyway, yeah, so if anybody out there has the same kind of simplicity with this model on it, it's a good tractor. I put the new tires on it, and I put a new transmission parts in it. I have a video on YouTube there somewhere that shows the part that I put into the tractor. And at first I didn't even know how that was going to work. I thought maybe the whole thing was gone, but it just seems to have a couple little problems, and I don't mind fixing them because the tractor really seems like it's in pretty good shape. It has a lot of power, this tractor. It pushes really good, and it has you know, it seems to be able to have good traction because of the length of it. It's really long compared to most tractors that I've seen. So anyway, I'm gonna get that fuel pump and I'll let you know what happens with this. I'm gonna clean everything off and see if I can't figure out if I can take that rubber thing and set it up and put some gas on it and see if it runs out or drips out the bottom, to see if that's the problem. But I believe that's what it'll be. It wasn't really dirty inside the carburetor, although there was a little bit of dirt in it, and I don't think that this is bad. I mean, I don't know if you can see that thing, but that's the needle valve there. It doesn't look bad to me, and it wasn't dirty, it wasn't stuck. So I think that that's okay. And the float doesn't have any gas in it. It doesn't have a hole in it or anything like that. So that seems like that's okay. You know, sometimes you get these crazy little things that happen, and you just got to try and figure out what's going on with it. So that's the latest story with what I've been doing. I'm trying to get everything fixed up and ready for, you know, when I need it. And I need this tractor. I need a small tractor like this to be able to push stone in my driveway. I can grade it off nice with this little tractor, and that's what I wanted it for. So have a good one, guys. Simplicity 17 GTHL. That's what this thing is called. I'm recording this because when I look in the computer, I might need to have this. Kohler 17 Series 2. Okay.